Howdy YouTube, Eznix here with a little video for you. It's Ezarcher time, as usual on my channel. I don't seem to do a whole lot of videos about other Linux-based things. No real interest. I have my own project to worry about. So if you're into it, great. If not, listen. If not, that's okay with me. So Ezarcher is my Arch spin project. I have 6 ISOs. Used to have 7. Dropped LXDE recently due to just no demand for it whatsoever. No interest on my part. And one more ISO to worry about. One less ISO to worry about. So we're down to our 6 Cinnamon, Gnome, KDE, LXQt, Mate, and Xfce. We're going to be looking at Cinnamon desktop already installed, and we're going to go through some initial setup and show you what I include to make that easier on your install. So the Cinnamon desktop, as shipped by Arch, is pretty basic, basic to the point of being ugly. It's not nearly as pretty as GNOME, KDE, LXQt, Mate, or Xfce. We'll see that in a moment. Um, the files up on SourceForge are in the ISO 2506 folder. These were the most mature of the June builds. So it got the 2506 name here for the folder. And the Cinnamon desktop is by far pulling ahead in downloads. I don't garner a whole lot of downloads because I don't do a whole lot of promotion or none, except for these videos occasionally. You sort of have to know about Ezarcher or find it by luck. So far, 130 people have downloaded Cinnamon ISO, and you can see the numbers for the others. Normally, the KDE ISO takes off, but it really hasn't this time around. I don't know why. Cinnamon Desktop, as installed by Arch. I told you it was ugly. The icons are ugly. There's no background set up by default. Yeah, um, pretty sparse. The file manager, the icons in here look bad. Yeah, it's just not pretty. I said this is already installed, and we're going to start to make it look better. So let's go over to the control panel here and go into themes. We're going to take a look at some of the themes we have. Materia Dark Compact looks pretty good. I don't know why the preview doesn't come up at all. Orcus Dark Compact looks very similar as well. So we'll go with that. Why not? Let's go with the Papyrus Dark Icons, and the window manager theme will change to Orcus Dark Compact. And already you can see we have a much better looking system. Yeah, much better. Let's go to backgrounds. And all of the default GNOME backgrounds are here if you want them. I do include a couple of my own in USR share backgrounds. Let's open that up. And now we can go look at it. And we have my lava lamp, of course, and the easy wallpaper. Let's go with the easy wallpaper. I find this a nice soothing visual here. There you go. Now Cinnamon looks really good. And to me it does. That's all I need. It's all on the ISO. It's all ready for you to pick whatever look and feel you want. So, and you can download others. Okay, let's do a little exploration into the Ezarcher folder that I place in the home folder of the user. We have some documentation, we have install guides. The install guides and the install scripts are really more useful from the live environment if you wanted to do a manual or more manual installation. My install guides are step by step, right from the Arch Wiki, steps that I would use to install Arch Linux. The install scripts are a bash scripted version of the guides with a little more choice. Not a whole lot, but a little more choice. Package builds are the package build files used for the 5 AUR packages included in my spin. Now, I'm including Calamares, CKB comp, and OpenSwap, mkinit OpenSwap. Uh, Calling them AUR packages, yes, it's technically correct, but they're only really used for the Calamares installer, and they're not included on an installed system. The two that are on the installed system are Downgrade and Trizen. Trizen is my AUR helper Pacman wrapper of choice. It's a small Perl script. It doesn't get a whole lot of updates. It just works. There's no drama to it, unlike Yay or Paru that seems to update all the time because they're written in languages that are not nearly as um, stabilized as Perl. Perl's been around for decades. So there's not a whole lot of change that needs to happen to keep them Perl scripts working. So Trizen is my choice. It's very small and does its job. Downgrade is a little package, a little program to allow you to downgrade individual packages should you need to do so temporarily to fix a problem. Reling configs are just copies of the last 2 Reling configs for the ArchISO program, just to give you a reference. Don't really need to ever look at them if you don't want to. Templates are the build templates for the various desktops. And scripts are the EasyMate script and the grub install script. And we'll get into the grub install script just in a moment when we look at the documentation here. Because before I run the first upgrade, I want to do 3 things. I want to create 3 Pacman hooks to help with the ongoing maintenance of certain aspects of the system. One is the auto cache cleaning done to keep your Pacman cache folder relatively as small as it can be, only keeping 1 level of history. The grub update hook, which will reinstall grub to the uh, drive every time the grub package is updated, and that will utilize the grub install sh script that I just mentioned. Also, the reflector Pacman hook will run reflector with a certain set of options every time the Pacman-mirror list package is updated. So let's go ahead and set up these 3 hooks. We're going to open these files in a text editor. And let's open a terminal because we will need a terminal here. And we can start really with this second command, the using nano to create the hook file. The hooks directory that it's going into is already there. There's really no need to make that directory. It already exists. So we're going to copy this command. I'm going to put it in the terminal. I'm going to type in our sudo password. And then we have our nano editor ready to create the file. And here is the content of the file. So we're going to copy, going to paste, I'm going to Control O to output the file and Control X. Before I do, I'll just point out all it does is run packcache RK1 to keep 1 level of history in the package cache. So we're done. We're done with that hook. Let's go on to the grub update hook. Let's open with the same text editor. We're going to create the hook file pretty much the same way we just did. We're going to copy in the content of the hook, which is really, I'll point this out when we get to it. All it does is run the grub install script every time the grub package is updated. So Control O for output, Control X, and we're done with that hook. And the last hook, the reflector hook, let's go ahead and create this hook here and put the content. Well, we got to get everything. There we go. And there it is. So what this does is it runs reflector, country code United States, produce a list of 10, sort by rate, only grab the HTTPS servers, and save it to the mirror list file. You can change any of these statements here to match how you like to run reflector. Control O to output, Control X, and we're done. So we have our hooks all set up. Let's go ahead and close that. Let me make this a little bigger. And let's go ahead and run a sudo pacman. Since this is the first time running pacman to do an update on a freshly installed system, I do recommend using the double Ys. Normally you wouldn't want to do that each and every time. And that's not a C, that should be a U. Silly me. Okay, let's run the command. And there's probably quite a bit to get. Yeah, 438 or 39 megabytes of downloading. Cool. Let's do it. See how fast this works. I'm going to grab a little drink here. Okay, it's not going terribly slow. We'll have this done. I think it is. Yeah, it is grabbing a new kernel. Is grabbing a new Mesa. Okay. Is grabbing a new Firefox. Yeah, some big packages here. All the GST, GStreamer stuff is coming in new. Okay. That didn't take so long. Ooh, look at that. A pacman mirror list file. So right off the bat, we're going to use that hook that we just created by running reflector after this, at the end of this update. Cool. We don't have a new grub coming in, so we won't get to see that hook in use. And we certainly won't get to use the packcache RK1 hook because this is the first time running pacman. These are the first instances of these files showing up in the cache, so there won't be any history to clear. You can see we're almost done. Just doing all the maintenance at the end of the download and installation of the packages. Excuse me. That's what I get for drinking carbonated beverage while doing a video. Get a little bit of air coming up. Sorry about that. I could have been grosser, but I wasn't. I modified or I held back just for you, my viewer, so you didn't have to hear other sounds. Yeah, I know, I'm getting silly. I'm just waiting for this update to finish. We'll reboot as soon as it's done. Does have to regenerate the init RAM FSs here, the regular and the fallback. And now you can see it's updating the pacman mirror list with reflector and removing the pack new file. That's what the hook is doing. Cool. As I said, we're almost done. We've been almost done for about a minute now. Failed to communicate with one of the mirrors in the list there. Okay, that's fine. No problem. Let's go ahead and exit. Let's go ahead and restart this thing. Hopefully there won't be an issue. If you didn't notice, it is running in an EFI enabled virtual machine. And it did pick up on the background for LightDM. Cool. So LightDM looks a little better too now. Okay. First reboot after that update took a slight second longer than I was expecting, and that black screen almost had me panicked, but it came back. Look at that. And here you have it. Cinnamon desktop looking good, fully updated, ready to go. You can go back to the documents folder here and look over other things. The EasyMate how-to. Let me run that for you. It is, I was going to open the terminal and do it, but I forgot. I did put a link to the EasyMate launcher right here. So let's open that up. It will ask for the user password and run the script in a terminal. And let's make it bigger so it's easier to see for everyone. There you go. So it will run an update if you want. It will reset all the Pacman keys if you experience errors there. Regenerate the mirror list. It just runs Reflector with the same options we saw in the hook. Clean the package cache will run packcache-rk1, rk1. So when you have the hook, that's really not needed. It does it automatically. Clean up journal space will vacuum the journal space and leave only the most recent 5 days, I believe. Clean the user cache boot. All that does is set up a temporary um, systemd unit to do this. Let's view hidden files here. The cache folder, everything in here. What that systemd unit will do is clean out everything from .cache. All this stuff is recreated by the system and the programs as needed when they're run again anyway. So that first reboot after cleaning the cache may be delayed by a couple seconds here, or the desktop loading, might be delayed by a couple seconds, but eventually it comes right back and you have a much cleaner .cache folder. Let's see what else. Enable Bluetooth services. So Bluetooth is installed. Blueman, I believe, for GTK desktops, and Blue Devil for LXQt for Qt desktops, but it's not enabled. There's no systemd unit set up by default. So enabling Bluetooth service in the menu will do that. All it does is run systemctl enable now Bluetooth. Same with Firewall D. Firewall D is installed and ready to use, well, almost ready to use. If you go to administration, you have firewall, but you do have to enable the firewall service. You can do that same way manually at the terminal with systemctl enable now firewall D. But I put it in the EasyMate script just in case you wanted it here. So we can exit that, and that goes away. Let's go ahead and turn back on hiding hidden files. Don't like the look of that. So it's nice when you need it, but you don't really need it all the time, hopefully. And there you go, folks. The EasyMate script and the grub install script are also living uh, in USR, where is it, local bin. So you have the EasyMate and the grub install script in your path statements. So there's no need to reference them specifically to any location. I include them in the documentation just so you can read about what they do, see what they are. But to use them, you just have to use the commands, and they'll work in the live system and in installed systems. Although in the live system, you would never run grub install anyway, but that's besides the point. Okay, is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah, let's see. I can briefly mention a couple things here. If you go into etc and look at, let's bring up the fs tab file. Fs tab, there it is. Let's open that in Genie. That's a good one to use. So you can see this is installed on a BTRFS formatted file system. The reason I point this out is because I use very specific options in the mount command, in the mount options within FS tab for BTRFS that not a whole lot of other distributions use. I do specify no discard. I have FS timer running as a system D timer, runs once a week. It does FS trim timer running. So there's no need to do a continuous discard, which I don't believe is necessary, and I certainly don't think it's healthy on a desktop. Now on a server where you have multiple redundancies built into your system and you're operating, a farm of drives, it may be. I don't know. That's what Red Hat and SUSE like to think their customers need it for. But for a desktop, I see no point in running discard by default, which BTRFS does normally if you don't specify no discard. So I think it's important. No auto defrag. I think defragging on BTRFS, it certainly is necessary once in a while, but I don't want it auto done. That should be done purposefully and consciously by the user. Okay, so that's all I had to say about that. Is there anything else I wanted to point out? No, I think that about covers it. Hopefully this video has shown you that the Ezarcher cinnamon spin, even though it looks kind of ugly when you first start it up, can be made to look really nice without ever going to grab extra themes or backgrounds. Now you can certainly do that, and I expect people to do that. It's just natural to want to make your system look and behave the way you want. Another point about behaving the way you want, let's go back to view hidden files here. I do not do anything to edit the bash RC, the bash profile. Those are default as Arch installs them when you run add user or create a user. So if you want your own aliases, go ahead, put them in. There are no aliases there. Hopefully that's appreciated by some people. I don't really use aliases. I don't like them. I think they're a crutch. I prefer just typing in the commands I want to use. That way my muscle memory and my brain know what I'm doing or what I should be doing. And I don't have to rely on aids that, will eventually ruin my own memory. I did want to, one last thing, show you Trizen. Trizen, as I said, is an AUR helper and wrapper around Pacman. We're going to do Trizen SYU, and it will ask for the password when it needs it. There's nothing to do. There's no AUR updates found. Perfect. So the only two AUR packages in a default Ezarcher install are Trizen itself and downgrade. So if those aren't updated since the ISO was created, this is what you're going to get. Now, if you install your own AUR packages, great. That's fine. That's what it's there for. You can, if you don't like Trizen, if you think typing the word Trizen is too much and you prefer Yay, you know what? Use Trizen to grab Yay. It doesn't affect me in the least. So if that's your preference, that's your preference. Okay, now I think I'm all done. My throat's dry. I've said what I wanted to say, showed you what I wanted to show you, and I'm going to take a break. Have fun, take care, stay safe. You'll see me in another one, folks. Bye-bye.